All right, here we are this morning. Time to play catch up or get ahead of whatever you want to call the game. It's the 12th, and I have uploads up through the 15th. So I'm still 3 days ahead. And so if I just keep on recording this week, I'll continue to pull ahead. Today is the day of new. I have brand new shoes and a brand new SD card for both my cameras. And I cannot wait to start doing stuff with them. I have a little briefcase coming in that will be used to house my SD cards as I use them, because as naturally as filming goes for me, I run into things that I don't want to delete, and so I don't delete those things, and I delete the disposable things, and eventually, as time goes by, the SD card fills up and you need a new one. And I had reached a point now where both of my SD cards have filled up. The one that I used in this camcorder was only a 32 gig, so it's kind of amazing that it took this long for me to finally fill it and put it to rest. And then the one I used on the brand new camera was a 256 gig, but the thing with the brand new camera is it takes better video, and so the videos on it take up more space. Plus, I think that I had been using that particular SD card the entire time that I was building my house as well, so I think there's a lot of film on there actually. And so the good thing is a lot of that stuff's already backed up somewhere. I just have so many backups that it's hopefully going to be impossible to ever lose any of the footage that I have made. It's unfortunate because I would love to do the same with our home videos. My parents videotaped virtually everything of our growing up, and those videos mean a great deal to me, but that's a whole thing that I'm not going to get into. But at any rate, with this briefcase that's coming in, I'll date the day that I stopped using the SD card, because it's more difficult for me to remember when I started using it. I bought this camcorder in 2017, so it's safe to assume that this would go back somewhere to 2017, but there's no guarantee that that's where it's going. And there's no guarantee, better yet, that that's what's left over on either of those SD cards. The 32 gig is the one that's more likely to have something from 2017 on it, as that is the actual SD card I had when I first bought this camera. It was funny too, because the gentleman, when I bought it, he was like, yeah, he's like 32 gigs, and I guess he was right, because it lasted me 7 years, but he was like, yeah, 32 gigs is good, you can get plenty of footage out of that. And here I am 7 years later finally replacing it. I swear he also told me that the camera had some sort of internal storage, like up to 8 gigs of internal storage, but that was most certainly not true. But at any rate, camera technologies and new shoes tend to be what's on my mind today. I bought new shoes for the first time in a while. I can remember when I bought the pair that I just replaced, because we had just hired a younger gentleman in our department, and he was wearing Vans a lot, and I was like, those Vans look pretty darn nice. I was like, I think I want to try and get a pair of Vans. And I almost always customize my work shoes so that they sport the work colors. And so I bought a pair of black and gold Vans, and that is what I wore for a good while. I feel like it was relatively, because I got my promotion in 21, and I don't think I started wearing the nicer shoes until probably 22 or so. I don't remember when he got hired in. He was a very short-lived, flash-in-the-pan kind of person. He did not stick around for very long. And so that was unfortunate, but he inspired my shoe choice. And I rocked those Vans at least for 2 years. Now thinking back at it, I was like, geez, it's only 2024 and I'm having to replace them. But like with work shoes, they get beat up more so than regular shoes do. I'm thinking 2 years is probably pretty reasonable. I had a pair of Nikes that I have had since my junior year of high school, and they're so incredibly broken in that they are easily my most comfortable pair of shoes. And with that, I have worn them a lot, and I've worn them out. I remember the last time I wore them, or the time before the last time I wore them, I felt like they were kind of falling apart. They kept squeaking, like the glue on some portion of it was loose and squeaking, and I was like, ugh, this is embarrassing, I don't want to walk around in these. And then there was one day randomly a couple weeks ago where I forgot my music player at work. And so I drove all the way back to get it, but I didn't feel like putting my work shoes on, so I put those casual shoes on. And then as I was walking back, it was like they were falling apart on me as I was walking. And I was like, okay, like these shoes have definitely been worn very well and have more than served their purpose. It's frightening to think about it, but my junior year of high school would have started in 2011, and so those things lasted a good 13 years before I finally tossed them out. And like that is an incredible life cycle for a shoe. Oddly enough, they're the only shoes from my high school that I still have. The shoes from my senior year, I can remember wearing those pretty frequently. I think that probably what happened with those is they probably just got left at my parents' place, and I never did go and retrieve them. And now, it's starting to come full circle. I need some new pairs of shoes. As far as nice shoes go, I have a pair of blue shoes and I have a pair of white shoes that look pretty nice. And then I have these Converse. I don't like Converse, but they're Converse-like shoes that have the original Nintendo controller on them. And those are primarily black, so they're usually the darker shoes that I wear when I'm wearing shoes of darker color. And so the interesting thing to me is that like I said, I'm getting to a point now where I'm in need of shoes again. And I've never had an abundance of shoes, but when I throw away these comfortable shoes, as I've labeled them, it'll be interesting to figure out if I replace them with something else, as I probably should. I just haven't been buying shoes a lot lately. Well, I've never really been buying shoes, or pants for that matter. I had to go and buy a whole new run of pants in May because I've outgrown most of my pants at this point. And so, which is another good thing, because I've been wearing a lot of those pants since high school, so to be able to run on the same pair of pants for 10 plus years feels pretty good. But at any rate, there's something inherently childlike about having a new pair of shoes. And I don't know, I think it's because growing up, I would always start a new grade with a new pair of shoes. And whenever I have that new shoes feel, it would be because I started a new grade of school. And now, every time I have a new pair of shoes, I associate that with new school feelings. And it's interesting to me how some of these things from your childhood just stick. But as I'm wearing these very clearly new shoes right now, I feel like today is in somehow a new day of school. And unfortunately, I'll get to work and that bubble will be bursted when I realize it's the same old crap that I've been dealing with for several months now. But at least this Monday morning, I can be excited to know and to think that I'm starting a new grade of school today because I have my new pair of shoes on. And it's interesting how a lot of those feelings from our younger years translate into our older years. And even when you're further away from your youth than you've ever been before, they still stick with you. And I think that is what drives a lot of people's love for the summer. Like when you're in school, you get summers off. You get months off from school because it's summer break. And in reality, summer is hot, miserable weather, but so many people are just that is when they come alive. And I think that stems partially from their childhood experiences of every summer is when you come to life as a child because you don't have school weighing you down. And I think it's worth saying that that sticks with people. I think unconsciously so. But I personally prefer the fall. If I could take any season off, I would take a fall break and start sometime at the end of September, go through all of October, and then because how long is summer break? Most people get off in May, and then they're out of school June, July, and they go back in August. So the fall break would be you get off in September, you're off October, November, and come back sometime in December. I'd be fine with that. Honestly, the best way to do is just come back at the start of the year. But been thinking about trying to optimize my time now for a good while. And I haven't found the want or means to do so. But keep talking about letting myself go without a job for a period of time to kind of pressure myself into success. I feel like that level of pressure is in some ways necessary to succeed creatively. I know a lot of successful creators who put that pressure on themselves, and that is how they succeed. If you continue with this job mentality, then you don't have that pressure. You're comfortable in your life, and so succeed or don't succeed, it feels fine to you. And I think that is a hindrance to me especially, but to a lot of other people. And so I think a lot about forcing that pressure on myself by not having a job. And what would that look like? I look instantly at Dave Grohl, who's an incredibly successful and very talented musician. And he came to California. He dropped out of high school early, came to California with no money in his pocket and only the ability to play drums really well. And we all know today how that worked out for him. And so I think that level of survival, that need to succeed, would drive people to unimaginable heights. And I know of a decent amount of other creators who have done the same, if not similar things. I follow Joel Haver pretty religiously, and he's like my measuring stick for success. If I could just have what he has on the internet, I'd be very pleased. He has a strong following. It's weird to say this, but in the grand scheme of like internet personalities, he's got, I don't know, 3 million subscribers, which in today's standard is pretty low. Like the average like big time YouTuber usually has like 20 million anymore. And so for the fact that he can still be a small YouTuber at 3 mil subscribers and feel like a small YouTuber and still interact with his fans and stuff, that's what I love. And I'm hoping that I can accomplish that to some degree with my own creation, with my own content. And using him as a measuring stick, he dropped his job as soon as he was making $500 a month for Patreon, which is not a lot of money, but he saw the passion there and he pursued it, and he has done very well for himself to where now he's making like $8,500 a month. His take-home pay has gone up by $8,000 since he started doing this, and good for him. I'm proud of him. I'm not jealous in any manner. It's inspiring because I'm like, okay, like I need to figure out how I can do this. How can I leverage a fan base to support me? And I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be wealthy. I just need to be able to live. And the amount of money that I need to be able to live is far less than what most others need. And so it's inspiring. And I'm going to do a whole lot of marketing for Compression Man. I've been realizing the importance of it here recently. Just a lot of people, so like when I first looked it up, it was video games. They pretty much, the cost it was to make the game, they also spent in advertising. And that was just an observation that I had made when looking up how much it costs to make a video game. And then I was watching a video with Matt Damon where he was talking about the movie making process, and that he said the very same thing for movies. He's like, if I'm trying to make a $25 million movie, if that's just the cost to make the movie, you also need another $25 million to market it. And I was like, okay, so I think it's a safe estimation to say that you invest the same amount of money into marketing the product as you did to creating the product, and chances are you get something good out of it. I was all over the place this morning. I hope you kept up, and I thank you for stopping by regardless.